It's not February. I can tell you that much. It's actually July, and I'm so sorry that I promised that we wouldn't take a very long hiatus, but it just kind of happened. Where do I start? Hi, I'm Ren. This is the calling feather. This is Real Penguin from Sumiko Garashi. We're not sponsored by them, but I thought he'd be cute. And now I am hands and possibly a body. And yeah, a lot of things have changed. One of those things is the fact that our footage isn't super overexposed anymore. There are some clips that were recorded before we fixed this, so they'll look kind of whack. But just don't worry about it, because we could not re-record certain types of footage since the painting that Mitsu was working on is now done. It is hanging over there, and we're not gonna mess with it. Let's go with updates first. So, here's my Paddington weeks. I did work in it. I just skipped maybe 2 or 3 months because that's always what happens with people with different planners. And if you watched the last video, which we uploaded, and I don't blame you if you didn't, I said that I was starting morning pages in here, and it's not really that accurate to say, but basically what I did for a while was I was having a really tough time at work. So I would just fill up like one of these pages with mostly my frustrations with just working a 9-to-5 job. If you didn't know that I do a 9-to-5 job, I also don't blame you, because like I never talk about it because I don't like my job. So yeah, I would just fill up one of these. It's not really morning pages. I'll talk about why later. But I had like a transitionary period where I would just like write like small thoughts in here. I would also like draw. Here are 2 of the drawings I did. If you keep up with our like artwork, maybe you'll see them eventually. Honestly, I have to upload onto not YouTube. We're uploading onto YouTube right now, onto Instagram and all those other not very fun websites. But now I have decided to use this as a work book. So a work planner, not really a work planner, I guess, yeah, a workbook, where since I have trouble planning things out and actually following through with them because I don't know, I feel like they set too high of expectations for me. I decided that once I do something, then I'll just write it in here. So that would be like, if I wrote 150 words one day, then I'm gonna be like, okay, so I wrote 150 words and this is what they were about. And that's been working for me so far. I stole this idea from Mitsu because she has a workbook, even though it's not the same. So yeah, this is the update for the weeks. I have not failed in using it just yet, but we have half the year to go. I guess less by the time you see this, so that's the weeks. Okay, where have we been? February was the last time you saw us. It was Lunar New Year. March was kind of a do-nothing month. I can't honestly remember anything we really did in March, so really we have no excuse for why we didn't upload in March. But April, we started something. Kind of. We started The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And when I say we started it, what I really mean is that we started doing morning pages. Real morning pages. Although the book we first chose to do it in was quite small, but you know, baby steps. So I think last October we had originally gotten the idea of like, oh, maybe we should do The Artist's Way sometime soon or next year or something. because I was kind of struggling with how I was like approaching my creativity again. And I was like, you know, we watched Apple Cheeks do it in 2023. So I think this could be a good idea. I'll put in like a hold at the library. We can like preview it, and if we like it, we could like either buy it or we could take it out for later from the library. And Mitsu was like, yeah, sure, we can do that. So we started doing morning pages in April, and we ended up finishing a whole book. I think it was an A6 size, like those small little, I guess pocket notebooks that you get with Hobonichi if you order from them directly, which I don't know if we're going to be able to do that anymore because of the tariffs. But, you know, we'll see. Things have been changing very rapidly, and I mean, that's also part of why we didn't upload for a while. We didn't really start formally doing the Artist Way because there were a couple of other things going on. One is that we started doing a second sprintathon. 4 of us were in it, 3 of us failed. Mitsu actually finished. It is not the painting that we took footage of, but it's a different painting that she can just insert into the frame somewhere when she does editing. And I tried to work a little bit on writing, but I ended up being really preoccupied with a different thing that I had to do because I was sitting on a panel and it took up a lot of my time. So we had to move Sprintathon to another month. We'll get to that later. So that was April. May, we did gardening. So last year we started a balcony garden, and this year we continued. We not renewed. Like we did some plants that we did last year. So last year we did like cornflowers, and we did some other herbs like Thai basil. This year we got like some new things like a rose. But we had some success with our balcony garden. It's doing pretty well, even though we had some pests. And then we also started participating in a community garden. So if you don't know what that is, it's like kind of a plot where you get your own little like division of it, like a little parcel, and you work on it. You can grow like vegetables, you can grow flowers, you can get to know your neighbors and stuff. The issue is that because the organization is not run super well, and someone in the past introduced a very, very invasive species, and it just kind of took over, and it's very difficult to eradicate. So we've been having a lot of trouble with that. I don't know if we'll do it again next year. We'll see. But we did a lot of gardening in May, and it had been going well, and then it was not going well because of this stupid weed. So yeah, that was May. So we did continue with morning pages. We didn't start the Artist Way exactly just yet. But in June, I think around mid-June, we did start it. So what we did was that we kind of started reading the introduction and chapter 1. And I'll go over that in a little while. But the thing is that we were originally going to be like, okay, well, we'll just do it for 2 weeks because we have an event coming up. And we had to travel for it. So the week 1 ended up becoming the 1 month week 1, but it's fine. June had a lot of events, so we were kind of busy since everyone's busy in the summer. And that brings us back to July, where we are attempting another Sprintathon. And I guess I'll talk about that another time, maybe next video when it's done and we can gauge whether we all succeeded or if only some of us succeeded. So yeah, with that being said, yeah, let's talk about the Artist Way. So the Artist Way is, I guess you could say, a self-help book. I guess you could also maybe call it a way to kind of help you, I guess, either get over a creative block or get you started with creativity. That's what I've heard people say. We were introduced to this book by, I think I mentioned in the first section, by Apple Cheeks in 2023 when she did her series, kind of going through the artist way to cure her burnout. And actually in April, when I was kind of like, oh, maybe we should start morning pages, I also found another artist who was also going through the artist way, and she did it week by week. That was Vespertillo. She's an Italian artist, and I thought the way she did it was pretty interesting, and that kind of also inspired us making like the videos for the artist way. I don't actually know what exactly it will look like. I don't know if we'll do it week by week or we'll do like just general updates and it's like, oh yeah, a few weeks have passed, or like this is the next week, but it's kind of unlikely we'll do weekly uploads, but you know, who knows? Who knows? But so the artist way is basically to help anyone who's creative. So like artists who like draw and paint, writers, dancers, I'm sure there's like filmographers, anyone who's creative. It helps them kind of get back to the kind of creativity they want to do, or kind of like help ease them into, I guess, maybe the next level, or maybe just even like back to where they had been, or like back to where they want to be. And yeah, so the introduction part will introduce you to the two main tenets of the artist's way. One of them is morning pages, which I talked about a little bit before, and the second thing is artist dates. I'll start with morning pages first, because I think that concept can be a little bit, it can turn some people off. I think Julia Cameron even says that there are people who are skeptical of morning pages because they're like, how is writing 3 pages just going to help me feel any better? Admittedly, I did not have this skepticism at all, because like journaling is kind of a well-known way of helping people like center or just like get like the bad stuff out of their heads. So I didn't really have an issue with it. The way that Julia Cameron kind of does it is it's 3 pages in the morning. Modification. We did not do any of these in the morning, I don't think. We mostly did these, I guess, in the afternoon, because one, we're not like morning people, and two, unfortunately, I have to go like into the office, and it's not like always feasible to do it there. So I wasn't able to make them morning pages, but we're gonna call them morning pages. But when we started in April, we were like, okay, let's try this out. Let's use these small A6 books. Let's use these small A6 books. And I got these a long time ago with a Hobonichi order, and we filled them up. I'm not going to open them because you're not supposed to do that. But we filled those up, and we were like, okay, this is a good trial run. So the second book we moved into was anyone who's ever gone to like a convention or has like I guess like a weakness for cute things probably has a large collection of these like A5 artist books where like there's an illustration on the cover and it's like really pretty and it's a hardbound book. The thing is though is that they're not the best for writing, for at least for everyone. I think some people are able to write in them, but like if you get like pain, if you like if you get here like to the bottom of the book and like you're pressing into it and you're trying to write, then it hurts. People like that, like me and Mitsu, we did not enjoy writing in those books, and it was like, oh, okay, we'll just press on and try to finish the book because we've had these for so long, but we couldn't do it. So we ended up having to switch to different notebooks because they were better for our hands. So we ended up picking Apika books. These are good for fountain pens, and the paper is nice. But yeah, this is Mitsu's book. I will not read what's in here because I'm not supposed to. That's another thing with morning pages. You're not supposed to share them with anyone. And the idea with morning pages is that if you're a blocked creative, there is something that is probably in your head that like might be preventing you from maybe creating things. So it's like, let's say that you're really worried about what is like an issue that's not like, okay, let's say you're worried about global warming. So you wake up and you're like, oh my god, the world's gonna end because it's gonna like light on fire. And I'm saying this as someone who also is worried about global warming. Like, this is a self-own. But basically, you sit down and you write whatever you're thinking. So it's like, you fill up those 3 pages of whatever's on your mind. Don't filter it. Don't like hold back. Just write about whatever it is. And then after 3 pages, you're supposed to stop. Sometimes we didn't stop after 3 pages, but I'll get into that later. But basically, the idea is that if you get it out of your head, then you're able to move on to do other things. So let's say that I had a really crappy day at work. So I complain about it for 3 pages, and then afterward I'm like, oh, I kind of feel like I can actually do something now that I'm not so bogged down by how bad I felt after coming back. So I can go and like draw again, or I can write. And when we started morning pages in April, I think it did take a couple of weeks or something, but after a while, both of us found that it was easier to just jump into creating things again. So a little bit about me. I've been kind of stuck in a burnout loop for like 14 years. So this was just my like desperate attempt to try to get out of it, because as of this year, it is almost half of my life that I've been burnt out. So I was like, okay, maybe what it is that I am actually more blocked than I thought I was. And maybe that's also why I'm super burnt out all the time. So when I started doing morning pages, I noticed that I was able to like get back to some of the ideas that I thought that I couldn't do, or that I thought were like kind of thrown out because of different reasons. And I was able to, I guess, tap back into the type of creativity that I wanted to do. Mitsu, on the other hand, she was not burnt out. Thank God. If we were both burnt out, then I think that'd be really bad. But for her, this was more of an exercise in trying to, I guess, expand more of her skill set and kind of explore more things that she wanted to do. So one example is this year she kind of wanted to get back into watercolors again. So I think she said that it was like doing the morning pages kind of helped her kind of put herself back into the mindset of just exploring things again and not having to worry about like materials or like what skills or that she did remember or retain and what maybe she didn't, or like just kind of play around and be free and stuff. So I think the morning pages are really helpful. Just from a journaling perspective too, it's really helpful. So yeah, I think it works pretty well, and I can see why it's one of the main tenets that Julia Cameron asks you to do. The second thing is artist dates. So artist dates can be kind of, I guess, more of a, you do what you kind of want to do in a way, which is like every week you kind of set aside some time to do something creative or just something that you've always wanted to do, just to tap back into like your creativity or your inner child. So one good example is in April, Mitsu gave me the gift of ceramics class, because I used to do a little bit of ceramics in high school. We had a class for it. It wasn't like the best run class, but I did like it because I kind of like hand building. It's just the classes that we had were mostly on throwing, and I was like, oh, I hate throwing, because I wasn't taught very well and it didn't really turn out the best, and I was like, oh, I kind of hate this. But I was like, okay, I'll give it a chance, and after some time, if I get back into it enough, maybe I can like make some of my own things that I want to make. But I did pretty okay. Here's a cup I made. I like the color. I'm pretty decent at symmetry, my teacher said. Let's see. Here's a bowl. I kind of wish the colors turned out a little differently, but I do kind of like how it looks. And then here's my plate. We're gonna call it an artistic plate because it is not the best, but I kind of like it. It's kind of charming in its own way. So that's an example. So for me it was every 2 weeks, but I went and I just did this by myself with my instructor. Mitsu's planning to use some of her artist date slots to get back into relearning how to use a sewing machine. Because she grew up really liking sewing, but it was kind of more like hand sewing and embroidery, which is also something she does. But when you're trying to make garments and stuff, it's not the most time efficient to hand sew everything all the time. And it can get really like stressful if it's like you have to do so many really tiny stitches. So that's something that she wanted to do. For most of the time, for the artist dates, we had to kind of modify it a little bit because since we worked together, we were like, okay, we'll just bundle it, because one of the things with artist dates is that you have to go by yourself. But I assume if you work in a team, it's okay to do it with the people that you usually do art with. Maybe it's not, but it's fine. Like, you can do whatever small modifications you want, I imagine, to this. I mean, for crying out loud, we are doing week 1 for a month, so, you know, we're not perfect. Nobody has to go by the books completely. And, yeah, but generally we had been doing artist dates since we learned about them in 2023. We usually do cafe dates, which is just like, you go to a cafe, you start drawing. It's pretty self-explanatory. It takes us out of the realm of digital art and back into our sketchbooks, and I think that has also helped. So yeah, those are the 2 tenets of the artist way that are introduced in the introduction. So week 1 is called Recovering a Sense of Safety. And basically what that means is you're kind of creating the sense of safety in order for you to be able to be creative again. And a lot of what Julia Cameron talks about is like the idea of like, you're blocked because either someone said something really crappy to you once, like for example, someone who was like a lot more privileged might have said, oh, I don't know why, like, you draw like this. Why don't you have, like, better supplies? Or, like, another person might be like, I don't know why your anatomy is so ugly, even though my anatomy is, like, also whack, but you can't criticize me because it's my style. Or, like, if you had the art teacher who was, like, really annoying about how certain types of art aren't real art, like illustration or anime. It's kind of like taking all of those bad experiences, like other bad experiences too, maybe not even related to art, but those are the things that are blocking you, and it's kind of like trying to confront them in order to, I guess, free yourself from them and get back to this sense of being like, okay, I can just work with what I want to work with and do what I want. And a lot of the tasks at the end of week 1 have to do with what she calls time traveling. So that's you going back into your past and being like, okay, this is what this person said, and this is kind of how it affected me, and kind of like trying to work through it to let go of it so that you can become more creative again. There is also the section of like thanking, I guess, the people who were supportive. So let's say you had a really supportive like parent who was like, oh yeah, you're really good at art, why don't you like pursue it as a hobby, or pursue it even as a career. That's someone who you would be like, oh yeah, I'm really grateful that that person was like that. Or like, let's say there was like a friend who gave you an art supply that you really wanted but you couldn't afford, or like you didn't know if you would be able to use it for some reason. Like, that's someone else who would be like, I think she calls them a champion or something, Hall of Fame, something like that. So it's kind of like just, I guess it's a lot of introspection is what I'm understanding. Just sitting down with yourself being like, okay, why do I think I'm like in this spot where I'm really blocked? And maybe what were the causes? Like, I found that a lot of my causes weren't actually other people, they were circumstances. So it doesn't always have to be like people. So that's week 1. We will let you know when we finish it next time. And yeah, I'm really interested to see what our next update looks like, because time we update next, I think 3rd sprintathon will be done. Week 1 will hopefully be done. If it's not, then I'm really sorry. Hopefully we'll have other updates. Maybe by then we'll be uploading art again on like social media. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. So yeah, look forward to the next one, and see you next time. Bye!